Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys. Celtic Warband here, and thanks for tuning in to another epic battle in Medieval Kingdoms 1212 AD. In today's battle, we have two Western nations who have taken refuge on a hilltop and hope to last the night in the face of the oncoming Mongol hordes. So I really hope you guys enjoy, and without further ado, let's take a look at the army comps. Alright guys, so we're going to start by taking a look at the Mongol hordes, and we're actually going to look at all three army comps within one frame here. But we're going to start with my army composition. It's over on the far right hand side, and I've got two units of these Crimean slave raiders, which are pretty poor cavalry, but I wanted to have a little bit of a more diverse roster as the Mongols. The Mongols were very famous for conquering territories and then incorporating their best units into the Mongol hordes, so you do see a lot of mixed units. And with that in mind, I've also got 4 units of the Russian princely cavalry here. You can see that they've also got some Rus in their army. So that's kind of my far wing, and then my more traditional Mongol forces are 7 units of these heavy lancers of the high period. Very, very solid cavalry. And right in behind that, I've got 5 units of the Tartar horse archers, which is a light bow cavalry unit. 15th century, very, very elite and very fast moving. And then I have my general's bodyguard over here, who's just the regular general's bodyguard. You can see we're already moving forwards just a little bit there. That looks so cinematic. But let's go ahead and look at the units in the center. I've also got a few units of rocket carts. Each of the Mongol players, there's 3 in total. We're allowed to bring 2 rocket carts, but I believe we've only got 5 total. But the next army composition here, I believe this is the Hunted in the center. Or actually, possibly the Red Celt, who is in the center. I can't remember. But either way, we've got some more heavy horse archers here of the late period in the front lines. We've got some more heavy lancers of the high period. We've got the Generals Talia, or Talea. We've also got some Mongol lancers early period. And some infantry as well, some dismounted Drazina. So again, getting the Rus involved in today's fight, and more of the rocket carts here. And then on this far flank, we've also got some more dismounted Drazina, more Mongol lancers of the early period, and a lot more horse archers as well, heavy horse archers. Very, very good cavalry. You can see much more heavily armored than my Tartar horse archers, but the reason I went for them is because they're very fast moving. So I'll be able to focus down the enemy cavalry and then get out of there easily and not allow the enemy cavalry to catch up. But we've also got some late period Mongol heavy lancers here. Looking really nice. So there's a long line of them. And we've got another general over here, a late period general's bodyguard. And we've got another final wing over here with some heavy horse archers of the late period and some heavy lancers of the high period. And that is it for the Mongol forces. But if we just kind of zoom out and then pan around, you can see that we pretty much encompass almost all sides of the map. The Mongols have surrounded the defenders. And speaking of the defenders, let's go ahead and take a look at them next. The first defending army on the battlefield today is Hungary, commanded by Azrian Fox. And he's brought a pretty solid force here for holding out in this very nice hill. He's got the tree cover as well. But he's brought some Pavi Spearmen of the high period in the front lines, 4 units of them. And then he's also brought some crossbows here. Just got to sort through who is who. Here we go. He's got 5 units of the Pavi's crossbowmen of the late period. And right in behind that, towards the bottom of this hill, we've got a couple units of halberdiers. And he also had some late period swordsmen. He's got his general here, Matthias Corelli. And I believe that is him there. Wow, very glorious. Look at that armor. Just beautiful. So that is the general. And as I said, he does have some swordsmen here. I believe that they are over on this flank mixed with the halberdiers. Yeah, we've got the late period swords for Hungary. Another very solid unit. Chainmail and plate armor. And I think that's most of his force. He's also got a few units of Hungarian knights over here towards the back end as well. And that is it for Azrian Fox's force, so let's go ahead and take a look at the last defender. The final defending force on the battlefield today is Venice, commanded by Lance the Strategist. And he's got some really solid swords over here on the flank. He's got some Fanti Damar, heavy melee infantry. Really, really solid. And he's got a ton of this Rocconieri, which I hope is how you pronounce it, but it's a medium polearm infantry unit. Look at that. That is something you would want when dealing with a cavalry army. So hopefully they will be able to do a lot of damage to our heavy lancers. But he's also got some spears over here, some lancieri, quite a few of them. And more towards the back end here with more of the heavy polearms. And he's also got, I believe, 4 units of the Paveseri Ballistari, which is basically the Pavis crossbowmen, same as Hungary. And he's also got some Equitatores and some Signori of the early period. And he's got the Doge's Bodyguard. And I believe that is the Venetian general right there. He looks a little worried, not going to lie, and he should be. But that is it for the Army Comps, guys, so I really hope you do enjoy the battle. Alright guys, welcome to the battlefield, and what a terrifying sight to behold for these European defenders on this hilltop. And those rockets are going to reload, and they've got 6 or 7 more volleys to rain down on these poor Venetians and Hungarians here. But as you can see, they've got a really nice situation here. They've got a perfect hilltop to defend from. The front is defended by a steep hilltop with tree cover. The only opening is kind of behind, but they still do have some of that tree cover to slow down cav charges. Let's go ahead and turn on the HUD here, and we are going to put it on slow motion because, as I said, this is a very short battle. I really wish that this battle was longer, but Attila battles and Attila modded battles tend to be quite quick. Let's go to the tactical map here so you can see just how we are situating against the defenders on this hilltop. I'm pushing really hard on this southern side, but I've also got a lot of my Crimean slave raiders and the Russian princely cavalry behind. Same with, I believe this is the hunted on the far side, and then the red Celt is in the center, but we've got the infantry starting to push up, and I believe the hunted is bringing his heavy lancers over to completely encircle these defenders on this hilltop. Really, really awesome so far. But actually, it looks like we do have some of the cavalry, the Hungarian knights, ready to charge up the down the slopes here. But we've got the first charges of the dismounted Drazina pushing up the hill here. And there we go, battle has begun. And there goes more of those rocket volleys over top. That is awesome. Just awesome. The trees catching fire as well. We've got the Hungarian cavalry charging down the hilltops here. Not sure where exactly they're going for. It looks like they did hit one of these dismounted Drazina units, and I think they are trying to go for the rocket carts. But seeing that we have so much cavalry, we can easily pen that Hungarian knight charge so that they do not reach the reach the rocket carts. But the Hungarian cavalry is going to turn around and hit the dismounted Drazina. Over here I am using my horse archers here, trying to fire at the halberds of Lance the Strategist. You can see them up on the hilltop there. But this is kind of where the battle turns in our favor a little bit. I see that there's a little bit of a weakness here. Only one unit here of swordsmen of the late period from Azerian Foxes guarding this one area. There's no halberds in behind, so I was able to just charge one of my units through, and then while they were knocked down, I was able to pull most of my Crimean slave raider unit through with minimal casualties. See, that's the one time in Medieval Kingdoms 1212 where it's worth it to pull a unit through. It's right after you get that charge, because look at that late period swordsman there who broke due to Crimean slave raiders. I mean, they didn't get many, well actually they didn't get many kills. They've got 100 kills right now, and they are just running amok here, silencing all of these Pavis crossbowmen. And it is enough to open a hole here for more of my cavalry to come through. You can see I've got my Russian princely cavalry ready to come through next. Let's go ahead and put this on slow motion so we can see the rest of the battle here. We've got the Hungarian general here who's had to move in to silence these Crimean slave raiders. But at this point, it's too late. The Mongols have found an opening, and we've got the Russian princely cavalry here engaging this general so he cannot retreat. And now the Doge and his bodyguard are going to have to come over here to deal with this princely cavalry. But as I said, we've just got more and more pouring through this gap. Classic Mongol tactics here, just exploiting a weakness and then charging in from behind. Because, I mean, things aren't going too bad for the defenders here. They are holding. They've got a lot of spears here. The dismounted Drazina, I mean, they're solid, but with the help of the crossbows, I would have thought they'd be doing okay. These Mongol lancers are not having a good time. And against the Pavi spearmen here, you can see that they are shaken. Let's look what's going on over on this flank. So yeah, another unit where it's just swordsmen. So I believe the Hunted here is charging his heavy lancers in. Just charging them in. I'm interested to see how much... not too many casualties. I was waiting to see the steep drop, but it's possible maybe he didn't get as good of a charge off on them. But just look at this over here. The halberdiers, they're struggling to try and contain all of this princely cavalry here. Over here, though, Lance, he's got a really solid fortress back here. The spears and the Ranconieri, I hope that's how you pronounce it. They're just a solid wall. I am not able to charge through the spears and halberd formation. But I don't even want to turn it onto regular speed because there's so much going on. The rockets just coming in to the valley floor here, right over top of the mountain, and just firing into the ranks of soldiers that are desperately fighting below here. Very, very epic engagement. This has probably been one of my most favorite land battles of all time. Look, there goes some more rockets. Actually, let's see if I can turn this on play here. Oh yes, just firing into the backs of these poor halberdiers here. I mean, I do not know if I'd be able to stand my ground here at this point. That would be terrifying. But at the same time, there's nowhere to turn to. You're completely surrounded on all sides by one of the most fearsome fighting forces in history. And over here, too, I've actually got my Tartar horse archers at point-blank range firing at these spears, but they are unwavering. I am getting, like, no kills here. So what I do try to do is start to focus on the backs of these halberds, because I am going to need to crack them if I am going to get more of my units through. Yeah, it looks like we've actually got some crossbows that may have broken and have returned to the fight, but they are definitely outside of the protection of Lance's infantry. Let's go ahead and zoom out here so you guys can see what exactly is going on. So this hole is still open here. Looks like Lance and Azrian desperately have tried to plug this gap with some halberdiers, but I'm just funneling more and more of my cavalry in here, and also the Hunted over on this side doing really well in hitting the backs of these Ronconieri here, who are shaken now. I think that is due to the rockets that are coming down as well, really affecting their morale. And now the Red Celt and his infantry over here are starting to break through. I think that the rockets may have had an overwhelming morale debuff for the defenders, but I guess that kind of is pretty accurate when you think about it. Like, it's terrifying. Like, listen to that. Where is that? Just right behind us. Absolutely terrifying. There we go. I got that crossbow unit there that was kind of a little too far out. And let's actually zoom into some of this engagement here. The Mongol cavalry just knocking aside the Venetian spears. Just unwavering. Just look at this battlefield. And now it's almost like the dam is broken. Just more and more of the Mongol cavalry pouring over the hilltop on this flank. And that is pretty much why the battle was over so quickly. Just that one little issue. The unit of swords in shield wall, but they were only 2 abreast. I was able to charge through it with a Crimean slave unit. And once that was open, it was just GG at that point. You can see the generals desperately trying to fight here I've still got my princely cavalry engaged. That is an awesome shot there as well. Just a really awesome battle. There comes some more rockets down. Not even worried about friendly fire at this point, just continuing the volleys. Really, really awesome. Only 43 seconds left. Let's just go ahead and slow-mo it here so you guys can see exactly what's going on. See how a lot of these units in the center just breaking. Look at this, 148 men in this unit, and they're starting to break. Again, I think it's just due to the unrelenting rocketry bombardment here on this hilltop. But over here, they're actually holding pretty well. I think this is like most of the last of the units for the Western nations fighting strongly on this flank against my Tartar horse archers. Oh, yeah.
The enemy general is dead.
And there we go. I believe that is the Hungarian general who has fallen. We've got Lance not sure what to do with his halberds here. He's trying to defend the units that are fighting in the rear here with against my, I believe this is my heavier lancers. Or actually, this might be the Hunter to the Red Celts lancers charging into the spears, but it's just all out wavering at this point. Even units that are so fresh, just wavering. And I know that it's probably not really fun for the defenders, but I just love how this is probably exactly how the Mongol invasions happened in Mongol battles, where they just overwhelmed their enemies with superior firepower, like the terror that was involved, and then just moving in for the kill like quickly and just no mercy. And there we go, a decisive victory. So I really hope you guys enjoyed that battle. If you're interested in seeing more Mongol type battles like this, we'll try and plan something where maybe we have a little bit less rockets and have a better hill defense. Maybe they'll be able to use some barricades and that kind of stuff, and see if we can get like a nice 15 or 20 minute battle. Maybe even longer. That would be really good. But looking at my forces there, yeah, those Crimean slave raiders, they did amazing for how cheap they were. And then the Russian princely cavalry, not too bad. Really good kills on my lancers. The Tartar horse archers really didn't do too much though, but those rocket carts did pretty solid. Same with the Hunted's rockets. Yeah, I think he was the one in the middle then, since he is in the middle slot here. So I will remember that for next time to take a note. It's so hard when they're all the same faction, and Attila doesn't actually tell you whose army it is. But the dismounted Dracaena, some not doing too good, but some doing pretty solid. We got some early Mongol Lancers who did pretty good. The rest is average. And for the Red Celt, doing really well with his dismounted Dracaena. And the Heavy Lancers, 268 there, really nice. And his Rocket Cart got 56. Looking at Lance the Strategist, his spear units just broke at the end. I think that might have been after the general died, because they're still fairly healthy and pretty low kills altogether. And I did focus down a lot of his Ronsonieri, about 102, that's pretty solid. And unfortunately his crossbow is not getting many kills at all. And looking at Azrian Fox's forces, a couple of his spears doing alright, but his halberds didn't get many kills. The swordsman is kind of a mixed bag, and the crossbows, unfortunately, not as many kills. They should have gotten more, but I think just the morale breaker rocket carts were just too much for them. Although they are pretty depleted, so they must have been caught by my Crimean slave raiders when I charged them in early on. But his Hungarian knights did really solid there. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this battle. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this in the future. And as always, I will see you in the next one.